Hello there. I'm Rob Holub. I'm with the Connecticut Lacrosse Officials Association. Welcome back to 2024. High school lacrosse season is just starting. We're super excited. Again, we showed the 2024 NFHS rules emphasis video. There's 4 rules emphasis and points of emphasis for this year: cross prohibitions, eye shade. I'm going to go quickly over worn equipment and heads involving the head or neck. Again, as we always say, the rules either do one of 3 things: require, restrict, prohibit. There's nothing more, nothing less that the rules actually state. In the helmets, again, this is a requirement of what's going to happen, and then prohibit the action if the helmet comes off. The high school rule is different than the college rule. If you watch any games on TV, any games on ESPN Plus or any of the other networks, it is a different rule. So in the high school rule, it is not a technical foul on the player. It simply is an immediate whistle. The player goes off the field until the next dead ball. What that means, it needs to be another whistle. So the first whistle to end the play, then a second whistle to end the next play, and at minimum 1 second has to come off the scoreboard. That's how we're thinking of that. So 1 second has to come off. If team A is entitled to the ball when that whistle is blown, it goes to team A. If it's team B who's entitled, it goes to team B. If there's no possession, meaning the ball is loose or we can't determine who had possession at the time of that whistle, therefore it is loose by definition, it goes to alternating possession. Again, it is not a technical foul. Both teams get free substitutions within 20 seconds. That is the normal timing after a face-off or a goal, or after when we say the timer is on, after a team timeout, or after a period end. There is a nuance in the high school game. If the ball is in flight, meaning it has already been shot and is heading towards the goal, in the judgment of the officials, the shot can continue. This is different than the college game as of right now and as of this recording. Then it can still be a goal. If it is a goal, that player still has to come off of the field, but it is a goal. If it is a no goal in a legal check, we are determining that that ball, for all purposes, a ball in flight, is always no possession or a loose ball. So therefore it goes alternating possession. And then if there's no goal and the helmet came off because of an illegal body check, we then have team A getting the ball because flag denotes possession. B is going to then have a time-serving foul. And again, we're going to use that kind of idea of, since it's a legal hit, we can have a goal and we can still have a time-serving penalty after that with a man down face-off, or potentially, again, A getting the ball. So very nuanced in that. Again, it is up to the official's determination of when that helmet comes off, whether or not the shot is in flight. So that whistle, again, we are being trained to blow that whistle as soon as that helmet comes off. So we might have that scenario this year. So just remember that. We then have the head or neck area. So if you do watch the college game and you do watch the games on TV, this is the same from last year. It is now moved to the high school. We feel this is a good thing. It adds one more rung within the ladder, where if a head or neck check last year, it was always a 2-minute non-releasable foul. If it was not a direct hit and it was simply a player riding up, officials were a little hesitant on that because that is a large call from maybe a cross check, 1 minute releasable all the way to a 2-minute non-releasable by rule. So we've given more steps within the game to try to take out these head or neck penalties. Again, there are still run-of-the-mill, quote unquote, fouls, such as a cross check. If you cross check a player from behind, from the rear, it's going to be a 1-minute releasable in that scenario if it's not overly excessive or violent. If you then cross-check a player out of retaliation, we might have a 2-minute foul. Think on the crease. You get frustrated, you cross-check somebody, we might throw 2 minutes, especially if we feel it's retaliation. A 3-minute cross-check, I feel like we're going to see, and I've explained this to the officials, we're going to see a lot less of these, and these are going to be pretty rare. This needs to be something that is excessively violent, but is not to the head or neck, but doesn't really reach on a sportsmanlike conduct, a retaliation, an anger play, a target, or a defenseless player. We have a lot of different avenues to go down. That 3 minutes is going to be tough. Your coaches don't want that. We don't want that. Your teammates and even your opponents don't want that hit. So again, if we're going with a foul, it's going to be a 1 minute or 2 minute, most likely. 3 minute is probably going to involve something else. Again, we have a head or neck area still, which is non-releasable, and we're going to explain that. We have defenseless player. So if the player is ineligible to be hit, right, does not have their head turned around, it is a pass from the midfield where that player is hit immediately without a chance to see it. The onus again is on the hitter to make sure the person being hit can see and has time to react. I understand that is not an advantage to the defender, but the onus is on that player. Think of other sports as well, is that if a player has their focus someplace else, that is bending over to scoop the ball, that is looking to catch the pass, anything in that nature, or is after a shot. Those could be defenseless scenarios where that player is ineligible to be hit for any reason. We also have targeting. If you're directly going after a player to injure them or after their head or neck, we have 3 minute minimum, even an ejection within that. We also have unsportsmanlike is anything that is deemed unsportsmanlike conduct. So if we feel it is retaliation or anger, we may go to unsportsmanlike conduct as well and escalate from there. If it is head or neck, we finally get there, right? If it is head or neck, an indirect, so this top image right here, a check that starts legally, but then ends up illegally, that rides up into the head or neck area, should be a 1 minute non-releasable. The officials still have discretion if they feel it is completely inadvertent touch, meaning that it is a cross check and the top part of your scoop, or let's say a shooting string, touches your face mask. That may not be indirect head contact. If we feel it is just inadvertent and the vast majority, 95% or more, is on that shoulder and does not ride up into that area. Again, we see that within the game. We have a dynamic game. Things are moving. We're not going to get 100% of a check in a designated area. We understand that. But if it rides up and finishes in that head or neck, we have 1 minute. We have a direct, which is one here. You can see the cross check is starting in the head or neck. So therefore we are direct. That is going to be 2 minutes non-releasable. And then if we have excessive or flagrant, that is 3 minute non-releasable. Again, to this point, very tough to have a run-of-the-mill cross check that doesn't hit any of these things. So again, think riding up, 1 minute unreleased or non-releasable, excuse me, direct, which is going directly as a principal point of contact to the head or neck. And then we have excessive or flagrant. Again, we can have things that are illegal body checks. We can have cross checks as well to the head or neck area. Splashes, generally speaking, will be two areas that are not the head and neck. We can still have them to the head or neck area, but we might call a head or neck area foul, which is a different foul. So again, you might see officials calling them different things to the same effect. With all of that said, the big hit is not out of the game, but for dramatic effect, but the big hit is extremely difficult to execute legally, especially in the high school game. We have a lot of things. We need to not be in the head or neck area. We need to make sure that the person being hit is not defenseless and is eligible for being hit. It cannot be a target. It has to be below the head or neck, above the waist. It has to be from the front or the side, and it has to be within 5 yards, and it cannot be excessively violent. There is a long laundry list of things. So again, you will see more often than not a flag being thrown for a big hit, because again, we have a lot of things that need to occur for that to be legal. And so again, even if you hit a player from the front, your shoulder contacts their chest perfectly, but you ran more than 5 yards, or if that player wasn't looking or was receiving a buddy pass, all of those things, or if your hit finishes in the head or neck, you might still have a flag. So we're going to still see body checks and we're going to still see hits. We can still see big hits, but there's going to be a very, very high threshold for that hit to be considered legal. And then we go from there. Enjoy your season. I hope you have an amazing ton of fun throughout the entire year. I hope you have some great memories and the camaraderie is fantastic and you're safe throughout the entire season. And most importantly, make sure we honor the game. This is the medicine game and it is important to all of us in order to be a better human being on this planet through this game. So enjoy your season and have a ton of fun.